Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Glad you're here this morning.
It's a wonderful day.
It is a wonderful day. It is.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing well this morning. Welcome to another session with us here in our home.
Good to
We've
see
been
you.
online since the pandemic, and this is Cornerstone Life Center Sunday gathering, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah. And
Live and in color.
yeah, it's definitely live.
You look pretty today.
Well, thank you.
You look like I could just
Thank you.
bite you like a piece of cake.
Okay. Okay.
Hey,
What?
bite you, make you grow a beard like mine.
Oh my goodness.
No, I don't want you to do that, babe.
You all dressed in red today.
Yeah, I thought I'd just put a little red touch to everything. There's Miss Deb. I see Miss
Yeah, you're
Deb.
just jumping over everybody. There's Sissy and
Sandra
brother
Lee.
Sissy and brother-in-law. There's Vern. They came in real early. Vern came in at 9:54.
I got to
Vern.
tell Vern something, baby.
What you got to tell her?
Vern, you when in my research and study, you may have heard me mention it before, and some of the rest of you, Miss Pearl and Dion, all of them. There is certain people that come to this world that came through many worlds and this may be the last time you come into this dimension, depending on your love, eternal love, forgiveness, walk. And this is what I tell you, I tell everybody. Once you understand that you are an unlimited I am eternal self, that helps you to deal with things like what you've been through much better. Johnny was one of those light beings that came into this world. I mean, all of us are light beings, but some come to do special things.
We'll talk about that, some of that today.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
talk
I
about
just
some
I'm
of
on key with it
yeah,
now. That's
yeah.
why.
Well, good. Let me just say hello to everybody, and then we'll jump into that. And yeah, I just felt like I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. There's Kathy. Hey, Kathy. And there's Dee Dee. Hey, Dee Dee and George. Looking forward to see you today. Pearl. Hey,
Miss
how
Pearl.
you doing? And there's Sandra. Hey, Sandra.
Sandra.
And Marcine.
And Marcine, I hope, is the Marcine on there?
She said Marcine's
Yeah,
watching.
well, I like to get together with y'all.
Yeah, you said that
Sandra.
the last
Yeah,
time.
okay.
Hey, Deb. And then and hey, Deb, every Friday he has been tied up, so he's gonna really need a haircut when he sees you. He's gonna have to come.
See, he ain't looking for all this stuff growing out.
He missed this Friday, and he probably gonna miss that.
My wife de-weeded me, got all the weeds out, so grass growing on me like my beard. It just growing.
Oh yeah,
yes, good. I'll be ready for Christmas.
I've been doing so much yard work. I tell you, I just love being outside doing.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Sister Chris.
Miss Chris, how you doing? You and Junior?
Yeah, and there's John Greason. John.
That's a motorcycle guy. I saw a motorcycle go up the street today this morning. It was an orange, and boy, that boy was going zigzag up the road.
Is it?
I thought about
motorcycle, or was it one of those little?
No, it was a motorcycle. But it might have been a Honda, one of them fast ones.
Oh, okay.
It was a color light orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Destiny back to see.
Destiny,
hey,
Dr. Blue, Destiny.
And there's Brother Blue in the family.
Yeah.
And then
There's
Oliver just popped
Oliver
in.
J. Hickball.
All in. Yo, if you're with him.
Dr. and Mrs. Oliver J. Hickball.
All right, let's I won't even do the little thing today. We'll just jump into what we're talking about. You mentioned to Laverne. You were talking to Laverne.
Yeah.
And you were telling her about the possibility of Johnny, and then you started talking about we were all light beings.
Right. Now, this is something. What happened to me years ago is that the knowing part of me or you, whatever happens to one light being, is the whole light being family that is involved. When Jesus spoke to Paul on the Damascus Road, it is hard to kick against the prick. Meant that whatever Saul was doing to physical beings involved in that physical body was the light of an eternal angelic earth angel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, I feel that this morning. And to all you little Olivers out there, and you little Laverns, and all these little Wilsons, with Marion Wilsons, these pointers that will help you to deal with what we call drastic, what do you call, calamity or something like that, things that happen. When you cry and show tears, that is the tears of Jesus. I saw him one time. I was in Winston. I was going up. I can see the exact place right now. The service station that I passed by going over in Winston when we lived over there, and I saw a knowing. It's a knowing flash of Jesus' face. And when I saw him, he appeared. Now, usually when I see him like that, he's appearing to me as a reflection in the mirror from my face. And the tears that he dropped, I saw tears come out of his eyes. It was perfect water, perfect tears, Laverne. And to all of you guys out there, there's perfect water. This water of tears is like an oil that I used to see come out of people's hand in the old tent revivals. And many times I saw it come out of people's hands when I was praying for them. You look at their hands at first, and Vern, you remember some of these things. Their hands are dry, and when you speak about the oil, you look and it starts coming through. I can sense it now. Now, these tears that fell out of Jesus' eyes are the tears that you dropped with everybody in your family and all the rest of you. And these tears come down in slow motion out of his eyes. And when it got middle ways of his face and his cheekbones, it stopped. And when it stopped, I looked at it. And these were the tears that are in the book of tears that I saw in the archives and the earthly records, the council and all that together. I saw these two tears, and they were so crystal perfect. And inside of his tears was a message.
Well, there are messages in all of our tears.
Yes, they are called angelic light beings. I am, you are him, he is you. Self. And that means that those tears were meant to come out of you, which means the situations or circumstances that brought these tears, it was set up by you in your divine self, which was the Christ self, to come here into this story world and experience Jesus crying through your eyes.
You know, and as you're talking about that, one of the hardest things to embrace and accept is the fact that we did collaborate and choose what we would go through here in this human experience before coming here as light beings. And it was for the experience. It was for the experience. So as light beings, we didn't know limitation until we came into human form. And human form gave us the limitations. And so that's when we began to experience all these different things.
The only thing that has changed in the illusion, the seemingly like has changed with us, is that this addiction dimension called Earth, world, Greensboro, North Carolina, Tennessee, all these states, these are manifestations of side effects
of the human existence,
the trauma and the situations. But one thing that was so touching to me was that our divine self set all this up. Now, I hear people talking online about our presidents and our political parties and things like that. The more you dwell on, as it like being dwell on not angel, but on trauma and meanness and hate and unforgiveness, the power that is made out of you, or you are made out of it, the compassion, it switches over, and that same energy can be used to work against you if you don't handle it right. We have this angelic world that we are made out of. is so powerful and so, I call it so giddy, or it is so non-judgmental. Now watch this. It's like a gun or electricity. You can take a gun and use it for fun and pleasure, or you can use it to hurt somebody. The electrical stuff in our house, the wires can be used to plug in.
So none of these things are in, like a gun, for instance.
Yeah.
None of those things are evil or dangerous in themselves. It's how they're used by those in human existence.
Now, I just saw this morning, and I would not have seen it. Took 50 years up to the point that we are now. I'm the knowing part. I can recognize angelicness now when I look back over the past, even though my aunt and uncle and all my family, all of them are gone and I'm still here. Now, some of you that listening to this are in the situation I'm in, and you had a partner, or you never had two partners, but everybody's gone in your family and you here. The question is why? The reason why is because you set it up as an angelic being to come here to wake up and find out what I'm telling you. When I went to the dentist office to get a tooth pulled, they didn't do it this Friday. I got to do it next week. There was a lady sitting out in the lobby in the waiting room. It was full, and it was a small area, and she was reading the book. And I said to her, I said, the pages that you got behind that you looked at, have you read everything in that section that you folded back?
It's a pretty thick book.
Yeah. And she said, yes. From that moment on, I began to tell her about my experience of seeing the records and the books and the manuscripts in heaven. And this guy was sitting right there. So the room was real tight. So whatever I said, everybody in the room heard it. This was a setup, a deliberately set up for not only that, but many other things to take place. I was told this morning that our neighbor down the street from us, the emergency EMS medical, was picked up somebody. And one of my neighbors was coming up the street while I was walking the dog. And I stopped. I said, what was the EMS truck down there for? And she said it was the Mexican guy that was a real friend of ours.
The one we called Bobby Side.
We called Bobby Side. He died. He had stomach cancer and died. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But let me tell you something. You guys out there have experienced this. Your mother, your family, and all of them. And you didn't know, they never told you who they really were. And you never told them who you really are. Because there's
a couple of things I want to bring into what you're saying.
I'll wait. I always start.
There was a video we watched sometime this week. I can't remember which day. There was a young lady who was talking about her experience, her near-death experience. And in her near-death experience, she discovered, while out of her body, away from her mind, she discovered that she had been in that spiritual realm a seraphim. Do you remember that? A seraphim or an angel. And it kind of dawned on me. I thought, what in the world does that mean? So when she said that, she said there was no ranking in heaven. There was simply different light beings, but they had different functions, but there was none higher than the other. So she said she was a seraphim and when she came to earth as a human, she realized when she came back that she was that earth angel. Okay, so having said this, is what I'm coming to understand, that there are angels that are specially created. I think that God deliberately set in as a light as ministers for us. But then there are those who have been here, who have crossed over, who evolved to a certain point, and they also are angels. And so they become angels or spirit guides.
And some of our family members who crossed over.
That's what I'm saying.
Angelic beings.
Spirit guides.
Now for us.
Yes, for us. And then I understood then when you said there are earth angels, why some of us are earth angels is because we were angels before we entered these bodies. And when we came to the earth, in this experience, which is the dream illusion experience, we still came here with the imagery of, or I should say, essence of that angel.
Mhm.
So we're earth angels. And then I remember years ago, you talked a lot about
I'm thinking that
how
while you talk.
earth angels, a lot of us are earth angels and don't know it. And
sometimes you can tell everybody, sometimes you can't. But
well,
that's
I
okay.
understand that.
Mhm.
You shouldn't point it out every
Yeah.
time. But
But-
there are some of us who are listening who
Mhm.
are earth angels.
Mhm.
And a lot of times earth angels tend to go through some hardships that
Oh,
other people don't go
yeah.
through.
Once you catch on to this, you'll be
And-
able to spot them. Even a lot of people that are deformed or have mental problems or
Yeah.
disabled.
Or some of them have trouble with a lot of loss.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised at how many earth angels are here in rest homes
Yeah.
that Jesus said, when you visit them, it is him visit them, and that you've done it to the least and you've done it to him. A lot of them are earth angels just for one of us angels to be caretaker.
Well, and that's what I was about to say, is that those of us who have had to be caregivers
Caregivers, yeah.
are possibly earth
Yeah.
angels.
Yeah.
And sometimes, well, a lot of the times we have an interaction and relationships, and those relationships we are loved relationships. I should say we are there for them, and
Yeah.
for a period of
Meaning
time,
God is
and
there for
then
them
they cross over
in physical form.
and then they cross over. So
Mhm.
there are a lot of us who
Oh,
are
glory.
earth angels
glory.
and
I feel
don't
the
know
presence.
it.
Yeah.
And don't know
Mhm. Mhm.
it. Mhm.
One thing I want to say to all of you, and this is something I had to learn through hard road and hard step. You are beyond personalities,
Mhm.
positive confessions.
Yes.
We
Yes.
were taught, have what you say, speak the word, or speak positive.
And there's a place for that.
There's a place.
Mhm.
But now, here's what I discovered over the years. I saw that same ability get tied up in a lot of people. Like a lady said one time, she knocked on the door of a house that she wanted, confession. She told the owner of the house that came to the door, I confess that this house is mine. I heard somebody else say they went to one of the evangelicals and told him, and he's married and successful in ministry. She went to him and told him that the Lord told me that you belong to me. now, you can also get over into an addiction that every time somebody says something that sounds negative, you want to
try
correct
to
them.
correct them. Yes.
Now, that is, I would say, a spiritual obsession. Okay?
Okay.
If you would relax over into your true identity, your relaxing state of beingness will show you or be made aware of when and to say certain things to certain people. And you don't have to walk around like you got a Bible under your arm or a script under your arm saying, I'm going to work for God. I woke up this morning. Now, we used to get up and go knock on people's door and ask them have they accepted Jesus. And I can look back over that was a state that we went through. But then I found out how bogartish that is, forcing people. It would have been to accept it. It would have been better if we knocked on somebody's door and said, "Look, the Lord, not the Lord. I thought about you, and I just wanted to bring you a loaf of bread, or tell you that I love you." Now you can also say this.
Yeah, and what you're talking about is a softer approach.
Yes,
we
still bring deliverance to people,
and still bring light.
Yes,
to people,
yes,
light to people.
yes.
I watched another video last night of this.
We talk about the pretty side of God, the beautiful side
Yeah.
of the spiritual walk.
Yeah, in that video, it was a neurosurgeon, a doctor. I won't say neurosurgeon. He was a surgeon, but he was also a hospice doctor who had seen all of the different people cross over. He had watched the experiences of people who crossed over.
And there are people that have sent here to do that.
Yeah. and he was being interviewed by a young lady who has a podcast, and she's very aggressive in her way of talking or whatever. She was saying that she found who she is by working through all of the things that were that she felt caused her to have fear, working through all of the things that she had she didn't like about herself, working through all of that and finding a place in her life, in her career, a place that was good and good energy for her and all of this. And she was a spiritual person. And then she made the comment, she said, so I'm now proud of who I've become. And the doctor who had his own near-death experience, who was talking to her, who was her guest, he softly, you were talking about giving a soft approach, he softly turned her away from pride. He said, there is a pride for what you have accomplished and become, but then there is a conscious awareness beyond that, where you are no longer just proudful, you actually know your essence.
I hear the words inside saying, loving me softly, something like that.
Well, it's killing me softly.
Well, say killing me softly. I'll say, but I heard the words inside, loving me softly. Would say the original song kill it, but loving me softly.
And that's pretty much what he did. He didn't correct her. He softly turned her attention away from that and let her know there's something even greater than that.
And look, when you do this, you don't have to wait for God to tell you anything, because we operate in what's called the merger. When I was working in RJ Reynolds, when I worked in RJ Reynolds, I worked in the cutting and processing, and then there was another section on the other side of the door or the wall that was called shipping or separation of tobacco. And Reynolds considered them to be separate compartments, but they're in the same building
working for the same company.
So the supervisor that was on the other side, when the one on my side retired, he took over his position. His name was Mr. McNeil. McNeil took over, and he was there. So now, what has happened to you and us when certain members of your family that depart from this side, they leave the smear off of the brush off of the fragrance of the smell of the odor of the wings of angels, and the actual feathers that they left behind is the essence of your completeness. You are now finishing up. Oh, glory. You may finish up, may have to come back, but anyway, don't worry about it. Don't say, well, no, I don't want to come back this way. But see, when you get in that, when you go to that state of your beingness, you don't say that. That's not the real you saying, oh, I don't want to come back. The real you ain't interested in coming or going anywhere as far as back because of trauma and mistakes.
One of the reasons it's not interested is because your angelic essence knows that this is just a brief moment that we're here.
Yeah.
It seems in this human mind that it's years and long periods of time, but in the essence, your angelic essence, you know this is just a split second.
As the meat is tenderized and seasoned, this morning I went in the refrigerator and I pulled out some things I was looking for in there.
You're always looking for something to eat.
Something early in the morning, real light, and I pulled out 2 pieces of real good steak. And then I said, "What, baby? What is it?" She said, "It is being marinated in the freezer. It's in there." Do you know that God is the you? That is, God is the you that He is marinating through all of these situations that seem to be tragic.
Well, as angelic essence, we have set up all of these
marinating.
And that's that's the hardest thing for us in our human thinking to accept, is that we did choose all of this and set it all up.
One thing I can say, you don't, since you find this out, you need some extra marinating. You don't go out here and play in traffic.
Right.
Or deliberately buy some tires on your car to put on your car instead of getting new and buy the real thin ones so thin you had to rub turpentine on to keep the bees from stinging them, knocking air out of it. So you don't go down through Main Street and instead of stopping on red, you stop on green. And here's another one. Here's another one. I've seen people in the midst of traffic and somebody's in a very bad situation, excuse me, in a very bad situation, and they want to just be a great, what do you call it, a hero or something like that. And they'll get out of their car and here's traffic coming behind them, this flying, and everybody got to throw on brakes because all of a sudden she became a great humanitarian and they want to stop and help somebody. That right there is a little bit out of place, and you're not going to miss what God had for you because you can't get to Him. But if you do that, you're putting a lot of other light beings in their bodies in jeopardy.
Yes.
And I've seen it happen many times.
There's a difference in being nice,
Yeah,
and walking in love.
yeah.
Being nice is not walking in love.
I'm going down the highway on the way over to the I think it was over to the Miss Deb a haircut, get a haircut one Friday, and this tractor and trailer was beside me, and it was good that I had the train horn in my Jeep because I could blow it. And I looked at his gas tank on the passenger side, and part of the nozzle and the gas hose was hanging out the gas tank, and he was dragging it along the highway. And I used my horn because if I used the regular Jeep horn, he may not have paid attention to it. But I blew the horn and I motioned to him, pull over. And he did. And when he did, oh, Jesus. He pulled over and he come around. He said, oh, thank you so much. What happened when his last stop, out of all the cars that passed him and saw that gas hose and nozzle hanging out his tank, nobody stopped. But it was a place for me to tell him from one light being to another. He looked like he was from Jamaica, the way he had an accent. He stopped and said, oh, thank you. But he tore that gas, that fuel pump. He tore that thing all to pieces, and he didn't hesitate to stop to hear what was going on. Mm-hmm. I just saw something when I looked in your eyes. The Lord showed me how to see Him looking at me through people's eyes, and I glanced over at you, and I felt Him looking at me out through your eyes. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Brother Oliver J. Hickbar and little Deborah Rondo Hickbar and all you little Hickbars out there. You are at a very crucial, wonderful moment of your life, of this life. To hear this information coming through, and if you've already known it, please respond to us here. There's a person who I know is a light being, an angelic being, not because they do things to help us, but for 3 or 4 years, this person has sent us certain amounts of funds in the mail in a special package. This lady may not be on here today, but eventually I'll talk to her on the phone. But she has been honorable and graceful to send us something every month to keep us going in the house and in the ministry. Years ago, she came to our church and brought her dad and the whole family from up in Pittsburgh. And they came down, and she has claimed us to be her pastor regardless of the distance and even not even being in a brick and mortar building. But she's not on tonight or today, and I want to recognize her as well as some of the rest of you who are doing this. Our Cash App has dropped off some, and we're still going by miraculous things of God, and some of the things that we have need funds for in the house is dropped off. And I was thinking this morning, my Jeep is a battery run down, and I said, the wife said, get who was it to come out?
Call AAA.
Called AAA. And I thought years ago, I went and bought a booster for a car booster. It's a little pack and it's charging in the kitchen. And I found that I don't have to call AAA. But my point is that some of you are stored up. God, this is really something. You have stored up a lot of energy as light beings, an angelic host of the earth realm. You have equity is built up,
spiritual
and
equity.
it's for a very special moment. If you may not preach to thousands, or you may not be in a public ministry, but in a sense you are. That may be all the energy for you stored up to turn and look or pick up something and help somebody. There's a lady that lives over here close to us at Walmart. She lives in her car. When you go to the parking lot, the car's sitting there, it don't move. It's piled up with all kinds of junk and stuff. And hot as it is, she got an umbrella and she's trying to stay cool. I stopped one day and I had a big, long box of change and I gave it to her. And I asked her, I said, but if you have to go to the restroom, how in the world, how do you make it? She said, Walmart gave her permission to put the car there and to use the facilities. Let me tell you something. People like you, Leslie, and all the others with your dad, energy has been stored up in you for crucial moments, or very strategic moments that somebody in your life, maybe your dad, which it is, a caretaker, maybe your sister, what it is. You've been sent here. You came here. You wanted to come here. You could not wait to get here. Now you can't wait to get back to heaven. But see, God fixed it so you can experience heaven without leaving your body. You know, in the book it said, "Be absent from the body, be present with the Lord." But since you are in the body and not left it, you still have the benefits of the angelic earth angel potential ability, and you have been strategically, like a Roman soldier, you've been put in position to help people. And you guys, like Miss Leslie and some of the rest of you, Brother Blue, and all the other little people out there, you have been sent here. If it's nothing but a penny, I tell you something else the Lord just showed me. I used to walk along the street uptown, and I look and I see these parking meters where you put change in. And the Lord told me, He said, I'm going to show you how prosperity works. You can be walking down the street and look, and there's money that somebody dropped on the street. I see it all the time in the service station, pennies, dimes, nickels, and I stop picking them up. And he said, that's an angelic sign of prosperity.
Okay.
That's an angelic sign of God giving you an indication that the spiritual side of your eternal I am self supply for all of the needs of your divine self according to the riches and glory indicated by you finding that piece of change.
I want to mention that consciousness, when we say the word consciousness or awareness, it is just another word for God. So when we say that we are that I am consciousness, or we take on the I am consciousness, it simply means that I'm leaving my residential location in the mind, and I'm choosing to see myself as that angelic essence. I'm choosing to see myself as the awareness or consciousness, which is another term for God. So in my essence, as the essence, I have a certain state or level of awareness. In that level of
awareness, and it works too.
Yes, in whatever level of awareness I am located, my conscious aware or my attention in, that is where I have my experiences. There are certain experiences that happen in this level of awareness. Another set of experiences in another level of
Mhm.
awareness. And as my awareness expands, I'm beginning to experience things that I didn't experience
Mhm.
before. And so you're talking about the prosperity, you're
Mhm.
talking about healing, you're talking
Mhm.
about deliverance.
Yeah.
Those things don't come to us.
Mhm.
Those things are made aware to us as we elevate or expand in our awareness.
And
So
waking and
I-
seeing the true self.
I
That's
must
right.
I must relocate my
Yeah.
attention,
Oh, yes. Yes.
my awareness in a certain place where the healing has already taken place, where the
Yeah,
prosperity has already begun inside of
Yeah.
us. So manifestation doesn't happen because I positively confess it.
Yeah.
Manifestation doesn't happen because I pray hard and ask God to respond. Manifestation happens when I become aware of who I am at that level.
Right.
And so it's like I have to become, in other words, if I want prosperity, I have to become the one
Mhm.
that is that. I can't just say I want $1 million or I have $1 million.
Mhm.
I can say those words and it still not be true because I'm not the one who has it. I
Uh-huh.
have to bring my
Mhm.
consciousness, my awareness to the level where I know I am the one who has that. So I'll give you an example. I've been doing this for maybe 3 weeks now. I want my house paid off and I want the deed to my house.
Oh, gracious.
That's what I want.
That's it.
Okay.
And
your
request has been heard right here.
I know that. But what I'm saying is I'm not looking for it to come.
No.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because this is the confession that I made. I haven't been saying my house is paid off.
Glory.
My house is paid
there
off.
You go.
I don't say that.
There you go.
What I have been saying is I am the one whose house is paid off.
Now.
I am the one.
Don't even. Hey, it's so set in place that you don't even have to say it, but you're saying it through demonstration.
What I'm doing is declaring I am the one whose house is paid off.
Being this,
and listen. And I am the one whose house is paid off, and I have the title deed to my house. I even made a little song out of it.
Okay, go ahead. Let me jump in on that. Let me get my guitar out of there. Harmonize with you. Go ahead.
I am the one whose house is paid off. I am the one whose house is paid off. I am the one whose house is paid off. And I have the title deed. So I'm not looking for, listen, I'm not looking for it to come. I'm not trying to make it happen.
Right
what
now.
I am doing is becoming the one who has it.
We are one with each other, and the house is paid off.
Yes, so
we are one with each other, and others that are listening, house is also paid off.
We must become the one. That's the level of consciousness that we have to be in and remain in.
That's I like that.
Become aware of that as a reality because it's already done.
Talk to me, girl.
In the realm of spirit, it is already done.
You know what? I can tell now if you were to invite me to a dinner, as exquisite as you are in your divine essence and always have been, when I come to sit down at the table with the host of the angelic beings around me and you, when I sit down and you put the plate in front of me with the utilities on the side, I can sit there and relax and not look for you to put a hot dog on my plate. But a T-bone steak or something that's really nice and juicy. Hot dog, because you have finally brought the awareness to a place where you are ready for the best of the master's servants.
So what state of consciousness are you dwelling in? What level of identity are you walking in? And that is the practice. The practice is not to try to become, the practice is not to try to make something happen. But the practice is to be the one.
And you no longer have to try to get God to hear you.
I'm not trying to get God to hear me.
Because he is us in it, being this.
Yes. Well, as angelic essence, it is God.
Yeah. Now what we're talking about, here's a prescription. This is the cure
Mhm.
for the false obsessive confession and positive talking.
It's
This
that,
is the cure for all suffering.
I'm going to say it a little bit different,
Okay,
a
go ahead.
softer way. I'm
All
going to
right,
say
say
it a
it.
softer way.
All right.
This is, in medicine, and when we have something wrong with us, we go to a medical doctor. That's medical science, and they prescribe something for you, whatever, or they do a surgery, whatever. It's only three things they can do. They can give you medicine, or do surgery, or send you to therapy. That's the only three things they can do. But then there is alternative medicine.
Okay, look out there.
So yes, you can go through with alternative medicine deals with the root cause, the root cause of the problem, and helps you to get past that into wellness, not just managing the symptoms, but into actual wellness. That's alternative medicine. So in what you're saying, I can do positive confession forever. Yes, that is a science, and a lot of people have mastered it. Or I can take the alternative.
Okay.
The alternative is I recognize who I am as that angelic God essence, and I am the one who has already these things.
Position.
So I'm not confessing for a thing or an object or an event. I am confessing and declaring who I am.
What it sounds like to me, that what is being said through you is rest.
It is. It's very easy to do that.
And you always tell me when she fixes steaks, I said, can I taste that? She said, wait, because it's got the rest. Lord have mercy, bless my holy soul. Hey.
So you must be the one. So
yes,
coming to that level of awareness of yourself, self-awareness. Self-awareness is what we're talking about. Entering into that virgin mind, which has no contamination of all of the accumulated experiences of your life, not conditioned. That virgin mind that's not conditioned is the mind that is beyond the human thinking.
And you know what? Seek to excel to the edifying of others. I, of all my life, and little boy, all the way up to now, I've always made things out of wood. And it always, when I was in the city, some of the things I made was kind of like was watching the Little Rascals, And
we did that too. Yeah.
And so the people on the buses used to stop and look at some of the toys I made, the big tractor trailers I used to make, and they would stop the bus be loaded, and they stop, and the driver would point out to these things. Now that I've gotten older, and in this state that we're in now, the hat that I got on now, I made it. And whenever I go to a what's it called, that tuna place we get sandwiches at? Subway. The owner said to me, he said, I see you wore one of them hats today, or I see you wearing a different one that you made. God has always put something in your hand that can bring others' attention to the Christ in you.
And sometimes it can bring wealth to you.
Wealth, that's right. What you made. I have sold these hats. A guy sold me in the bank and said, where'd you get that? I want one of them. I saw a guy at the restaurant.
One of the reasons the wealth, we didn't get all of the wealth that could have come through all of that. It's because one of our weaknesses is marketing. We just
just don't. Somebody have to help me market. Yeah. But let me tell you something. The favor, I'm gonna pronounce this to all of you. The favor of God is on you.
It is.
It is you.
It is you.
It is the most amazing thing. You can't stop that. You can't put it on hold. You just, hey, your mojo is working.
You are beautiful light beings.
Beautiful.
You are,
that's right.
Beautiful earth angels. You must come to recognize who you are. You must become self-aware.
Right.
And when you are self-aware, there is a peace, there's a rest, there are desires that will be fulfilled not by effort, but by simply knowing who you are, and that attracts that good to you. And it's really easy to just be the one. Just be the one.
Listen, I'm glad to have you on with us, Yvette King. I'm glad to see you. When I see that little small picture on the side of all of you, that is a sign that you are really angelic, and I can see it coming through your picture.
Let me say this for Yvette, because I know she's confessing, and she's positively confessing that she's healed. I want you to say this, sweetheart. I am the one who now has a perfect back. Say that. I am the one who now has a perfect back. I am the one who now has a perfect back. That's what you have to do. Not try to make it happen, because God has already provided it. It's the level of awareness that we're in that causes us not to experience it. So now and then at some point, the ailment that causes pain, you will be able to transcend the pain. You'll be able to transcend the limitation.
We understand the healing power of God and confession and all that. Let me tell you something, Yvette. I had back surgery, and I'm still having injections. But let me tell you something. If you're saying that you don't need surgery because you want to believe God, God can also work through the doctors, and you're very much aware of this. You're a grown lady.
And I have to say this too, that you have the choice of whether you want the surgery or not. Just don't allow fear to be that is making the decision.
Don't get over the what they call it, faith, foolishness, and presumption.
Yeah.
Don't get into
there have been a lot of people
a lot
of people who have died.
That your spine could be in a place that I'm pretty sure you've checked into, but I would not just sit back. And if there's something you can do to relieve the pain and suffering of your back, I deal with the same thing. So I'm not telling you something talking to you out the side of my neck. I'm talking to you out of experience. And your father is there with you to understand, that you can understand. If you can't afford it, if you can't get to it, get second opinions of different things, and take your.
He said, listen.
Yeah, I see what she said.
He said her doctor said she's not a candidate. That's great.
That's great.
So now you can work through it.
You can get treatment for it.
And not only treatment for it, there are things you can possibly do
right.
that will cause you to heal your own back.
Right.
I'll give you an example. I used to manage a physical therapy clinic.
Yeah, she know about
for
that.
17 years. And there was a doctor who, I can't remember what kind of doctor he was. He came to our clinic. He had slipped disc and could barely walk. And they said he needed surgery, but he didn't want to have the surgery because they wanted to fuse his spine.
Yeah.
He came to therapy for treatment to get some relief from the pain. But you know what he did? He went to the Y and started swimming.
Oh.
He swam until he no longer had a back problem.
Wow.
It actually healed his back.
I'm glad, Yvette, that you're talking to us straight.
So
we're trying to give you something that think about.
So sometimes it isn't that God needs to intervene. Sometimes it's that God as us, or us, God as us, is going to make a decision to correct the problem in the first place. So using our own decision, our own mechanism of making a choice, that is God.
I just saw something I'm looking at Amazon and television. Chuck Norris has got a special vitamin powder that you mix in your food. You got all the vitamins in it that you can do that help to strengthen the bones and the areas of the body that you get. But
I'll be honest with you, nothing will strengthen your body except exercise.
Yeah, the muscles.
There is no way to to fix joints and muscles without exercising them. There is no possible.
And one of the nurses around here told me when I was walking with the upright walker, she told me, she said, keep walking, don't stop.
You must.
Now,
if a car sits in the yard and never is moved, what happens to it? What happens to it?
What happened to my Jeep was sitting there like that.
What happens to it?
The battery runs down.
It goes down. It starts rusting. Parts in it become
the cylinders
ineffective. They won't work.
Dried out.
There you go.
The battery died.
Your body is made to move, but we must move the right way.
That's right.
In order not to injure it.
That's right.
And so we have to respect these bodies because they have been given us as an earth suit. They're our garment we wear as angelic essence. And we are the stewards of them.
And here's another encouragement. If you have somebody in your family that the doctor may say, is anybody in your family has a problem like it's generational, you may be the one to break that pattern.
And that's what it is. It's a pattern.
Yeah.
They're not generational curses. There are patterns in families.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. My father had an issue with his shoulders. He always had an issue with his shoulder and his neck. And he was constantly dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I remember Dad used to sleep on 2 pillows.
Yeah.
Always sleep on 2 pillows. And he did that because he had bad allergies
mm-hmm.
and he could breathe better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember there was a point, I don't know what caused me to start sleeping on 2 pillows. I started doing that. And when I did, I noticed I started having neck and shoulder pain. I thought, well, that's what Daddy did. So I had taken the same disposition.
Yeah.
I did what he did, and the same thing was carried forward.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happens in generations. It's not so much that it was inherited. We have the same practices. We have the same practices. So when we have the same practice, the same result comes. We have the same result.
Well, now we've had a good time on this today. I think we have. And Leslie, if you get a chance, give me a call. I thank you for the gift that you sent in the mail this week.
Yeah, and now let me say this to Yvette, because this is important, because I don't want her to leave without us having an understanding. She said, my doctor said I'm too active. I walk miles, I ride my bike, and I dance. Activity itself is not necessarily exercise. Give you an example, sweetheart. When you age, and sometimes when you're younger, if you're heavier than you should be, your core, which is your midsection, becomes weak. If your core is weak, then you can be as active as all get out, and it will still cause pain in your back and in your hips, and sometimes in your knees. They had a program for seniors at this gym that I used to go to, that you called it Silver Sneakers. And what they did for all of those who were seniors, and I'm one, was to help build their core, because if they build their core, they don't have back pain.
Yeah.
They don't have a weak back. They don't have weak hips. So building your core is what's going to help you.
I tell you, I like what you just said, Yvette. My doctor said I am too active. I walk miles and I ride my bike.
And I dance, and all that's great.
You cut a step and you dance. That's good.
If your core is weak and you're dancing, you could cause your back pain. You could injure your back.
I'd like to see you dance a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes our activity will injure weak parts of our body. Right. So I guarantee you, if you build your core, you'll start having less problems with your back. I tell my husband that all the time. You guys have to just do that. But this is not a session about exercise or nothing. It's just what I want to say is that your level of consciousness tells you your angelic essence knows what to do to heal your body.
That's it. It's intuitively that you find out.
It's not God
that you're doing.
It's not God sending healing.
You may go in the kitchen and pick up a spoon, and all of a sudden that spoon, when you put it in the drawer after you finish using it, washing it, and all of a sudden your back just quit hurting.
We saw a young man who had a healing service online on YouTube, and there were oodles of people, just just innumerable people of who had strokes and diabetes and all of these things, that he was laying hands on them and trying to heal them. And well, some he did and some he didn't. These people were violating their health laws.
Yeah.
They were not being good stewards of their bodies.
Not saying that you're not, baby.
No,
Just
not saying that.
just
But
an
I'm just saying
example.
some of us are experiencing problems with our body because we haven't been good stewards.
Yeah.
And we've done things to injure these bodies. But anyway,
But you are an angelic
you are
light
angelic
being
essence.
overcoming eternal self. That's what you are.
John says if you sit, if you don't move your body, bugs and varmints will
like the car.
invade your vehicle.
Hey, John, I've been watching cars where people that's been sitting at them old Monte Carlo sitting in the barn, and somebody discovered that they didn't have hardly enough miles on them to even think about looking at the speedometer. And they are pulling these cars out, and the bugs that got on them, the seats that need to be replaced, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting.
But thank you so much for responding back to us, Yvette, and the rest of you little Yvettes out there. So thank you for all that you've done to help keep us going on this. We have fun with you guys, and we want to continue
now,
on.
I know that Jill's been another one who has really poured out of herself.
Oh yes, I meant that's right, Miss Jill. We thank you for the gift.
And I think she's out of town today.
Yeah.
So she hasn't posted anything in the comment section about giving. Yeah. So I want you to pay attention to what she would normally say to you in the comment section and give. So I'm going to say this because she hasn't done it. You can give by sending your tithes and your offerings to Cornerstone, which is a virtual church.
Virtual. Yeah. We're under the law. We are a bona fide business, and we just fly by night.
Bona fide business.
Yeah, we're not fly by night, you know.
But I wanted to say how to give, just in case some of you don't know. You can text to CLC Greensboro to 73256, or you can do paypal.me/cornerstone35. Or you can mail it in to P.O. Box 36259 in Greensboro, North Carolina, 27416.
Yes.
And to bless Pastor and myself personally. And I have to say this because I want you guys to continue to send your tithes and offerings to church, the entity of Cornerstone, because there are expenses that we are responsible for as a church. And so please do that. Please recognize that when you're making out your checks or you're sending something online. And if you want to bless Pastor and myself, and you guys have been very good about that, you can go to Cash App, $A Sawyer C, or paypal.me/ACE Sawyer 72, or you can mail it into that same P.O. Box number, and Laverne will make sure we get it. We want to thank you for spending this hour with us.
Thank you.
Hopefully you have a wonderful, beautiful
Sunday
planned, or this Labor Day, you just rest from your labors.
Yes,
nothing
I'm
else.
going to do that too.
Yeah, some people have gone to the beach, which is, I guess, okay. It's kind of hot though for the beach for me. Yeah, it's kind of hot, but we had some thunderstorms last night.
Oh, it's pretty rain.
Yeah, it was actually tornado weather.
Yeah,
but we didn't have a hard time with it. It was good, and today looks beautiful outside.
Okay.
Looking forward to some less humid weather this week.
Yeah,
and yes, thank you, Leslie. She says like and share. Yes,
hit the button.
Hit the button. John says hit the button.
Yeah, John, thank you for the button to be hit.
Thanks for reminding me of that, you guys. Thank you.
Okay.
See, all of you help me. You help me so much.
Yeah,
so much. So we're going to take off here, and we'll see you again on Tuesday at 7. It's been good.
Yes, we bless you with the feathers of angelic awareness.
John says he's spending his Labor Day with COVID. Oh, bless your heart.
Oh, John, you'll be okay. We just coming out of there too.
We've had it.
Yeah.
It seems that this strain of COVID is much more contagious.
And that's something they talk about, some kind of mosquito bite that's just
Oh
coming
yeah,
out.
some parts of the country are experiencing the Nile virus.
But anyway, do what you need to do to stay safe and healthy. And you don't have to
and
try
be
to.
the one. Just
Yeah,
be the one.
be the
I am
one.
the one.
Yeah.
I am the one who has
You are the
house
one
paid off.
in your family that's setting a different path for miraculous God identity things to take place.
Remember, be the one. Remember who you are as angelic essence. You are beautiful, 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 beautiful. What is it, honey?
I don't,
What is it?
remember that name.
Lucy Marr.
You remember that name?
I think I've seen her once or twice. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good to have
Good
you.
to have you. And thank you for
We're
responding.
just getting ready to leave now, but thank you. You can always go back and out of the recorder and listen to our message that we had today and some of the others messages that we've.
And to all of those who are out there who didn't comment, didn't write anything in, I know you're there, you're listening, and you're watching.
You're there. And it's not about whether we're right or wrong. You get over.
That's Trina.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bless your heart,
Yes,
honey.
Laura.
Give us a call. Let me talk to you sometime, okay? And your mom and you, both of you, came to the driveway, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Sat in the car, and that's when we
brought
had
us some vegetables.
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Gift. Yeah.
And we had the COVID then. We couldn't get close to y'all.
That's the truth. I want you to come back when we're not.
Yeah,
like
please
that.
do. It was over. The COVID's gone now. You can come on back and we'll sit down and have some good talk, okay?
That'll be great. That would be great. We love you guys. You are the beautiful essence of God, and you are.
You can say angelic being, huh?
Yeah, you are angelic beings. You are angelic beings. Don't forget who you are. And when you do forget, then those of us who know you, we will remind you who you are. Okay, these are just really sessions to remind you.
You are a gift of God, wrapped in gold, and there's no limit to the prosperity of the wealth that you are made out of that is now beginning to express itself in every step that you make.
Yes. We love you guys. We'll see you on Tuesday.
See you on the turnaround.
I'm going to play a little music.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep your nose clean, your britches on. Hold everything in the middle of the road. And tie it down on both sides.
Bye.
Bye-bye.